Metamorphoses, Part 1. The Assassination of Julius Caesar, a divine farce revealed. Plutarch's Enigmas and the myth of the assassination. Welcome to a tale wrapped in riddles and truth, where the fables passed as history are fiction, and the symbols dismissed as myth conceal fact. Plutarch's literal account of Julius Caesar's assassination, the Battle of Actium, and the suicides of Antony and Cleopatra are brilliant allegories, fables masquerading as history. The real story lies in the enigmas they encoded, a truth buried in symbols, awaiting revelation. A Conspiracy of Metamorphoses, The Assassination of Julius Caesar, by P.J. Gott and Logan Licht. But what if Julius Caesar's death was not a brutal assassination, but a ritual exit? According to every classical historian, from Suetonius to Appian, the assassination in 44 BCE was public, brutal, and witnessed. But what they fail to tell you is this: all of them leaned heavily on the first account ever written by Nicolaus of Damascus, a philosopher working at the court of Herod the Great. Nicholas's version is foundational, but Nicholas was no neutral historian. He was crafting a history to serve power. He was close to Augustus and Herod and Rome. What if his version was more performance than fact? Enter a curious reference from Plutarch, who writes that the story of Caesar's death came from a source he calls Dynamis. Not a name you'd expect, but Dynamis has two meanings. One is a Greek philosophical term, dynamis, the invisible force or potentiality that shapes reality. Two, a woman, a real historical woman, Queen Dynamis, granddaughter of Mithridates VI, wife of Asander, ruling the Bosporan kingdom in the very generation after Caesar's supposed death. A woman educated, powerful, and allied with Rome. Dynamis and Asander had a son whose name has been linked to Julius, a suggestive echo of Caesar's own lineage, Tiberius Julius Aspergus Philo-Romius. The name Aspergus likely derives from Sarmatian or Iranian roots. Asp may mean horse, while ergus or gurg could imply warrior or hero, together connoting something like horse warrior. The name reflects the Sarmatian heritage of the Bosporan nobility, but was Hellenized to suit dynastic ambitions. When paired with the Roman imperial name Tiberius Julius, it implies both cultural fusion and possible symbolic continuity with the Julian line, perhaps even Caesar himself. Nicolaus of Damascus also refers to Tyche, the goddess of fortune and fate. Quote, Tyche had a part in this by causing Caesar himself to set a certain day on which the members of the Senate were to assemble to consider certain motions which he wished to introduce. When the appointed day came, the conspirators assembled, prepared in all respects. Curiously, Cleopatra's image appears on the reverse of a Tyche coin, reinforcing a symbolic link between divine destiny, female power, and imperial transition. Was Queen Dynamis more than a footnote? Was her name a cipher? An enigma? Perhaps a hidden message for those with ears to hear? Now consider this. Hillel the Elder, founder of the House of Hillel, which was the compassionate school of the Torah, does not appear in Jerusalem until after Caesar's alleged assassination. He arrives from the diaspora. His origins are vague. his wisdom revolutionary. And it's also notable that Hillel's Hebrew name, Hll, can be rendered Hala, which is translated praise God, goddess. Also notable, the Ides of March celebrated the death and resurrection of Attis, a god without a penis, which is a theme repeated in the Nazarene version of Genesis 40:22 and 23. And a quick reminder here of Genesis 40:23, the Hebrew consonants can be rendered, as I've shown there, the Hebrew words translated as, that God is male, a man with compassion or womb acquired, mother of Joseph, but she is forgotten. In other words, God was Joseph's mother, disguised as a god with a womb instead of a penis. Could it be that Caesar, facing betrayal and symbolic death, staged his own disappearance, only to reemerge in Jerusalem as a teacher of peace, as a savior to the empire he helped build? Hillel taught the golden rule. He rejected power. He called for love of neighbor and equal treatment of all. Exactly what Caesar could never do as Caesar. History remembers a tyrant stabbed by senators. But mystery whispers of a man who walked away from Rome and gave the world something greater than an empire. Not Julius the god, but Hillel the just. Transformation, hidden in plain sight, a secret guarded by Dynamis.